Here's a question for you. Are physical games as they become limited, in the future, do you see them being scalped up? Because what happened over the weekend, limited run games, they released NightTrap, which is an old Sega CD game that came out, and it was controversial for the time. It had a lot of very limited clothed ladies.
You could say
scantily clad.
Yes.
There you go.
Better word. And, in your objective is to, I guess, save them. And it was kind of this motion, or it was like this movie. I forget what would you call it?
Was it like Leisure Shoot Larry or whatever?
No. It was like actual
it's
video.
Like, it's like
and you're like a security.
Oh,
camera.
I have heard about this game. It's like live action, right? Oh, like
there's a word for it. It's not like motion capture, but anyway.
Okay, so I can follow the story.
So anyway, limited run games. They're re-releasing it. It's coming out. It's going to be 1080p. The actual footage that's in it. So basically, what it is, it's like you have to solve puzzles, trying to figure out how to get the best ending through these different, like, okay, if I'm going to go in that door, and then you choose that door, something kills you, then you're going to start over. Like, okay, I don't go to that door, you got to go up the stairs, something like that.
So with a game with how did you say that, Jonah?
Scantily clad.
Thank you.
Scantily
Women, what is the good ending?
I do not know.
I haven't played it.
I haven't played it. I do not, because I actually plan on getting the game. I didn't want it spoiled for myself, so... I mean, if you know the ending of the game, that's kind of ruins.
I don't think the game even has anything like overtly sexual about it. It's just women dressed at the time of release. It was just like,
well, there's like a pillow fight
to
scene.
get to the point of this. So you're saying this game sold out real quick?
Immediately.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Immediately.
But like by today's standards, the game's contents aren't even that
no,
shocking
not at all. I mean, you look at Conan Exiles. We now have full frontal nudity.
That should be a limited.
An endowment scaler.
Endowment scaler.
Yeah, that's the best part.
But anyway, so
Game keeps coming up.
The whole point of this is, we're talking about like anything limited, physical copies. They're selling out like hotcakes. Basically, I actually tried to get this game, and it was almost impossible. As soon as the counter hit 0, I put the cart. I did the checkout right away. All my information was already in there, but as soon as I hit checkout, it put me in the stupid wait in line screen. And as soon as it came out of that...
A queue?
Well, it basically says you're waiting in line.
That's nice.
Yeah, so you're basically waiting in a digital line. And then I came back and it was sold out. So I did everything right, but there was no way for me to get one.
And
now
it's kind of to be expected just because that limited run is such a small company. They can't make big prints for games.
No, but looking at the...
Now, I'm sorry, real quick. So these games that Limited Run does, they're like official licensed games by like these developers or publishers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do re-releases like they did.
So they make deals with the developers.
Developers or the publishers? Like, are they being published by the actual publishers, or is this just somebody that has the ability to go...
Whoever's got the ability to get the permission away, gives it to Limited Run.
Yeah. So whatever legal way to do it, they get their permission and then they make it. So, for instance, like Wonder Boy, that was a game for the Genesis, I believe.
Yeah.
And that they just released that and immediately sold out. But, it's not just limited run games. I mean, you're looking at games that a lot of digital copies come out and then they'll release physical copies and then they sell out quick. But we're starting to see a trend where things are starting to get scalped up pretty fast. Like, limited run games is good where they limit your quantity you can get. I mean, they are a small time company, so they'll be like, okay, you can only have one. The first run, you can probably get 2. If you're lucky enough, you can grab 2. But they limit to that. But some people were finding ways to hack in and throw 100 in their cart, but they were immediately kicked down. But, other sites that don't have something like that are much larger, that people can just throw a whole bunch into your cart, and then the next thing you know, they're turning it around on eBay for $300 or something like that. Yeah. Now, I mean, what do you guys see a trend like this?
Well, my question is, for these 2 games that you talked about in particular, are they up on eBay for high prices already?
Yes.
Oh yeah, right away.
What are you looking at?
Like when I saw that like a little bit after NightTrap sold out, it was on eBay for like $300.
Woo!
The
How much did you pay
edition
for
of
it?
Now, NightTrap...
The MSRP was like $60.
Jesus.
Well, the...
What about that Lawbreakers one that you guys got?
I only got the standard edition. That was like $25.
Yeah.
But what is it being sold for?
That one actually wasn't...
I don't know.
That one didn't really sell out because I think
it's just
it's multiplayer only.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something that...
That game lives and dies on the servers. So
exactly. It's not like something that you
it's
can...
like Mag.
Because they're looking at what they can turn around. And which proves another fact that a lot of scalpers are after these things. Because you're like you just said, it basically lives and dies based on the server. If the game doesn't do well and it trickles out, people move on, the game's just... it's worthless, really. There's no single-player campaign to it. If they want to add it later, that's fine, but...
Good old Mag.
Yeah, like Mag, PS3, look that up. So anyway...
I still have that game.
So you can't play it.
It's worthless.
You literally can't play it anymore. The servers are dead.
Nice paperwork.
Yeah.
Well, I was working at GameStop when they told us that the servers were going down, and we pretty much threw the disc out, threw the games out.
Yeah.
Marked them down and threw them out.
Yeah. But, so really...
Same with SOCOM.
I'm really concerned because, I do collect physical games, and, I mean, that's just something, what do you get when you buy a game nowadays? If it's digital, what do you actually own? We've talked about this before. You're basically just you own the download, and once the download process is over, that's it. That's all you paid for.
You get like a license to play it. That's basically what buying download
that's
is.
pretty much it. So physical, you have it. It's yours, put on a shelf.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And I think that's actually something that I kind of take into consideration even from a movie buying standpoint. Like if for some reason I buy digital movies, I won't usually buy it from the PlayStation Store. I'll buy it through a service like either Amazon or Vudu or something like that because those are separate companies. Like God forbid PlayStation goes down. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming I don't keep the rights to that movie anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? That's
like I said,
that's
you paid for the ability to download it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was it.
On that service.
And it's
the same thing with if you buy a digital game on Xbox, if for some reason Microsoft goes away, all of a sudden you can't transfer those rights or those licenses to PlayStation, play it on PlayStation.
This is something that you could still own, but look at Wii. On one console you download all these games.
Yep.
Then you go to the Wii U. Well, you have to re-download those.
Exactly.
You have to rebuy them.
them.
That's something Nintendo's been terrible at.
Yeah.
It's exactly like your DLC that you bought. It's gone.
Gone. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
So, now, it's bothering me because is this a trend where people because things are moving digital, but physical copies are still there. But what happens when GameStop goes down and say the physical stores are limited?
Yeah, I mean, you still have the AAA games. You'll still get physical.
Well, AAA games you're always gonna.
Yeah, you're always gonna get Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty. They're always gonna be on a store shelf. They may not be if GameStop eventually just goes the way I think they're gonna go. They're eventually just gonna rebrand and be ThinkGeek and probably sell games on top of it.
But even AAA games, we've seen it done before. They depending on what the trends are doing, depending on how they can save $1, they might actually sell you a case with a digital code in it.
Yeah, with Sonic Mania.
Yeah, for instance, Sonic Mania just came out.
Doing really well, review-wise.
Exactly.
Really well.
Yeah, actually, it's the Sonic game everyone's been waiting for.
It's a resurgence of an old IP with a new look, and it's doing well.
But like that, you can't get a physical copy right now.
Yeah.
You could go to the store, and there's a physical box you can buy.
With little goodies in it.
But it comes with a code for the digital copy.
Yeah. So, but, looking at that, that's a game that I would be interested in.
Yeah.
I would enjoy it on a Switch because it's handheld. That'd be cool to play on a handheld. However, the idea of it ever becoming physical, which it might and it might not. I think we read a few articles. Nothing really confirmed yet, but it's something that there may be a physical out there. But for instance, say this physical comes out and it's a huge item. Is it going to be a limited thing?
Could be.
Are they? Because like I said.
Well, it's like Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight came out, I think, it was digital for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It hit all the platforms digitally, and eventually they rolled out a limited run for Shovel Knight physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think the Vita version costs $80 on Amazon for Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Because it's probably such a limited run.
Yeah.
And $80 is not terrible.
It's gonna go
because
up
it's a
there.
good game, but it's only gonna go up from there.
Yeah,
and that's a shame.
Got its own fan base,
and that's what I see. What's happening now is, for the time being, we can still get a lot of physical games, like you said. AAA games are always gonna come out like that, but games, there's a lot of good games, and with these I don't know, Sonic Mania, I mean, the budget couldn't have been that big.
No, because they're working on 2 separate Sonic games right now, right? Sonic Mania was one of them, and then there was another
Sonic Forces, yeah.
And obviously, I mean, just from looking at what we've seen so far and seeing how well it's doing, as far as review-wise, critically, this one will probably be more of a payoff than whatever the other one,
right?
With the other games.
And I hope this does well. The only, like I said, I'm just concerned where if it becomes physical, is it going to be a limited? Okay, here, and it's going to be hard to find or something like that, and then people are going to start buying a bunch of them. I'm just afraid the scalping thing is becoming a trend because now, I mean the video game industry is billions of dollars a year, $30 billion a year, right? So this is, people are finally. Or not finally, they have been, but they're looking at almost every popular game as a way to make money. Right. As something that's retro games now. For instance, Super Mario World. Any retailer will sell that for $60. You go to a retro game store, $60. How is that $60? The Super Nintendo system is probably about 80 refurbished and it'll work fine. But $60 for a game that's just fun. It's not rare. It came with almost every Super Nintendo. It's out there. But
is it $60 for just the cartridge or with?
Oh yeah, no, you don't get it, not complete box.
Jesus.
I mean, I'm not saying that one's particularly $60, but I'm just saying something like that. For instance, it's probably around $40 if that, depending on where you get it from. But they can just kind of make up a number and throw it on there.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about this, the Sonic Mania, we were looking at it before. The Collector's Edition doesn't come with a physical copy either, right?
No, it's all digital. It just comes with.
That's another trend that is becoming more interesting for them to start doing Collector's Editions, where it's not only you're getting the digital copy of the game, or in some Collector's Editions or Deluxe Editions, whatever you want to call them, they don't even come with the game.
Yeah.
So I think Battlefield, or I think it was Battlefield, or one of the shooters had a collector's edition where they didn't even come with the game. You still had to buy the game separately.
I think I remember something like that.
Yeah,
it's an optional.
There's been a few. There's been a couple. There's been a few now that they've done that.
It's an optional bundle. You can have all this other stuff.
It's do you hate Call of Duty or Battlefield, but just want all that goodies? The goodies,
you want a bunch of.
I mean, if
you want a bunch of crap you can put on the wall.
I mean, if you look at it, if you want to save the collector's edition for someday, if you want to resell it or you just want to keep it in the box, it makes more sense for them to not put the game in because you don't have to open up the box and play the game. You can just get the digital code or buy it separately and do it that way if you're a huge fan.
This, unfortunately, is it's all digital right now.
Yeah, and like I said, the Sonic Mania, that was the one with the statue.
Yes.
Yeah.
How big's the statue?
It's 12 inches.
12
it's
inches.
Pretty big.
And the box is big. The box is, it's about 2 foot by 2 foot, I would say.
Yeah.
So,
what would you rather own? A bunch of junk or a physical game?
I don't have room for all the junk.
Well, that's the thing. This box is big. Where are you going to put this? You're looking store owners, they're stacking them like pyramids just because they're so big. I mean, it's a floor display only.
I don't understand the appeal. I don't get it.
For the statue.
I mean, if you're a Sonic fan, the statue looks pretty cool if you're a Sonic fan. Because it's like a replica of the Genesis and Sonic's on it. So.
Yeah, but you buy the game. You
well,
want the
for
games.
$60, or what is it, $70?
$70.
$70. It's not terrible for what a lot of these other collector's items are selling for.
That statue is probably all made of plastic then if it's $70.
Usually if it's a statue that comes with the video game, it's terrible quality.
Yeah, it's like the God of War Ascension one that I got. It was an action figure on top of a very hollow plastic rock.
Well, we know that
was what was considered a statue for an $80 collector's edition for Ascension.
That is not worth it.
No, it wasn't.
That is not
worth it one bit.
I have a hard time justifying these new AAA games are over $60.
Yeah, they're not even. They're $100 if you really like the game because you got to buy the season pass or additional content.
And the DLC added everything together. It's so expensive. Is it worth it?
You look at Destiny 2. That's a $100 bundle if you want to get all the content for it. Call of Duty is a $100 bundle if you want to get all the content for it. Most of these games nowadays, including a season pass, is probably upwards about $80 to $100. easily if you want to get everything from a game.
That's like its own separate topic, though.
Oh, yeah, it is.
For
Absolutely.
the value of video games, is it out of control, or are we supposed to be
I mean,
paying
it's still,
more?
their games are still the cheapest they've ever been because...
Well, you figure how much it takes to make them.
In order for them to... Then it's again another topic, and Chris is right, we'll come back to this, but in
Yes.
order for
We're talking about scalpers.
But in order for them to keep the game at $60, or you're pretty much your buy to entry, they have to do something like the DLC or the microtransactions or the season pass, because that's how they probably make up some of that cost that they probably don't make up from just leaving the game at $60.
I feel like though the man hours they put into making this DLC is pretty crazy
Depends.
in itself.
Do they
Depends.
actually? What is
Like Witcher 3? That game's DLC are like giant expansions, from what I understand.
Right.
Like they're separate games that are pretty much being added in.
most?
They could get away with probably charging that whole shebang.
$20.
No, it's $100. Like they could probably get away with like
The whole
4.
game and everything.
Just saying, hey, this game's $100,
Like a Game of
and
the
it's
Year
and it's
edition.
like 300 hours of gameplay. A lot of people, knowing that what they enjoyed about Witcher 2 or Witcher 3, would be like, yeah, sure, $100, here it is.
Do you think that the gamers should or gamers should pay, like, if the game is like, okay, this is guaranteed to be 300 hours, they should put a value of that 300 hours versus how much you would pay and come up with a figure?
I just think that the prices need to be a little bit more realistic. Like I think looking at something like say Uncharted that's coming out now, and we're really getting down a rabbit hole.
I know.
Uncharted the Legacy, Lost Legacy or whatever. That's $40, and that's really close to like the playtime of Uncharted 4.
Wow.
Like you have Lawbreakers, which was $30 multiplayer game only, $30. You have Hellblade that just came out, really really well critical reception, $30 for about an 8-hour experience. Like these they I feel like they have to kind of become creative and more competitive with the pricing based on what they're offering. And I think that will pay off and kind of keep them in line with what not only they expect from a successful standpoint, but also what the consumers expect. Right. So I think that if like a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, something like The Witcher 4 comes out and they're like, hey, we're going to charge $100 or $120. There's a lot of people are at first going to be like, oh no, what are you talking about, $120? It's insane. But then it's going to be like, all right, well, it's a 500-hour game.
Right.
With an online, a new online mode or something like that.
Well, that's really hard to price, the multiplayer aspect of things, because a developer could go, there's unlimited potential here. You could play thousands of hours of online, and we need to charge you $150.
Yeah, and it's just, and like I said, it's definitely a bigger conversation, but we'll come back to that.
They should just give me the option to buy the game without PvP, and I can just play less, because I'm not going to play it.
I just want to test out the waters.
Like, Destiny's the only one I actually go in for PvP, because I want the loot. I don't play Overwatch anymore. Like, I opened the recent free box, and I got an exotic, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. It's up for the week.
So what you're telling me is the initial price for the game is actually a bargain. Then as the price goes up, that's just the general what it should have been. So these scalpers have it right when they charge $300 for a game.
No, I mean, there's no game that it will. I think
scalpers are the true heroes. We should all support scalpers.
I'm really trying to bring us back to the topic.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, $300 game, like, if it's getting up to the price of a console... It should be $400. If it's going up to the price of a console, then it's completely outrageous.
It reminds me of Neo Geo games.
They shouldn't artificially inflate the price.
What was the MSRP for Neo Geo?
Well, I think, what is it, like $1,000 for the system? Something like that. But then it depends on what game it is. Some games are $200.
But anyway.
Cheap games are $100.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see more, if not less physical copies. I think what you're going to see is similar to what they're doing with Sonic Mania or some other games where they're going to release it digitally and then kind of see where the sales are see if it's a logical or a good business decision to release the physical copies afterwards.
Now, do you think like, how do you feel? I know you didn't really have too much experience outside the NES Classic and things like that, like with scalping and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that's a trend, or do you think that could be a trend happen? Like, I'm starting to see it more and more and more. As a game becomes popular, it's starting to get grabbed up pretty fast.
I mean, that's the
it's
age.
starting to get turned around.
It's the age that we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the internet. Like, people are you can go on Facebook right now and try to sell something for $300 that you have in your little room back there, your collectible room back there.
Your little room back there.
Yeah. You mean his vault?
His vault. Like, it's so in your face, and this is like another topic, but it's just a matter of like, this is the world that we live in today. Information travels like that. It becomes popular or controversial like that. Yeah. It is something that is constantly in your face. So you might be thinking that you're seeing more of it now, but you might just be more in tune to it. Mm-hmm. You know, it might just be in that regard. It was probably this bad, or maybe worse, or whatever the case may be, years ago, but we just weren't in tune with it because we don't have these things at our fingertips.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I was saying, the video game market's huge. There's a lot of, they also, like, think about hidden gems. Yeah. Like, for instance, a game comes out tomorrow that no one really would pass it up, but that ends up being really popular.
Well, it's like that Nintendo game, that marathon game, or there was
Stadium events.
Stadium events. Yeah, it was $40,000 it sold for.
Yeah.
Hard copy of that game. Like, how can you even know?
I don't even think that was a hidden gem. That was just, like, low print.
That was because of low print. But hidden gems, like you look at PSP games, PS Vita games that are hidden, anything that's classified as a hidden gem.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they're like double, triple price.
What's considered a hidden gem?
Basically, like I was saying, you don't know.
A game of an unknown developer creating an unknown title, being a fantastically amazing and fun game, and only printed so many copies.
I don't know if it was like unknown developer or anything, but it's a game that didn't get much hype or noticed when it was released, and then later on.
Yeah, like for instance, say like Halo 6 comes out tomorrow next to a game that should do very well, like if people play it, but everyone's going to gravitate towards that AAA game. No one's going to AAA. So instead of selling 50,000 copies day one or something like that, it only sells 25,000, right? So then the rest of them kind of just linger. No one talks about it, no one hears about it. But then people down the road pick it up and feel like, oh, this game's amazing. You haven't played this game? And then people hear how good it is.
Trying to find it and they can't find it.
Yeah.
And then the price just jumps on eBay.
But even that, like people that something like that, like the hidden gems, like if they really want to play the game, at least right now, a lot of those games are going to be able to be purchased digitally and played.
Yeah.
So.
But, guys, final thoughts real quick?
Yeah, digital sucks, so don't ever say that again.